Hello everyone, and this is me, Dusty Circuit here, and welcome to another episode of Kerbal Space Program. And today I actually would like to finish off, the goal that I set for myself in my series, which is to visit like all of the planets in like, I've done all the planets in OP Outer Planets mod, and then all the planets in Minor Planets expansion, and then all the Quack Pack planets, and now all of the Cacablo planets. And I really just have 2 planets left in the Cacablo system. And those are Roquea. I'm still not quite sure if that's the correct pronunciation, and on Remfni, like which is the innermost one. So, I think the previous episode I've been to the Cacabo system. I've been to Uleg and Iomena there. But in this mission, we're gonna go to Roquea. And what's kind of interesting about this one is not only is it an ocean planet, but it is completely covered in an ocean like several kilometers deep. Like, as in there's no land on it to speak of whatsoever. And also, it has some pretty thick clouds. And about 1.2 times Kerbin's gravity, and about 6 times Kerbin's atmospheric pressure at sea level. So landing here is going to be kind of similar to Eve, but only with water. And this planet also has an oxygenated atmosphere. So I guess you can kind of think of it like the equivalent of Eve, but with an oxygen atmosphere and just covered in oceans. So this is going to be the one we're going to be going to today in this episode. And this is going to be the ship I'm going to be using to visit Roquea. And I'm actually going to be using a plane to land on the planet, which is going to be pretty exciting. And yeah, I did test this before making this video to see if it is possible to take off from Roquea with this plane, and indeed it is. But I actually originally was planning on using a smaller plane than this, but last minute I decided to make this bigger one because I have a bit of a creative idea for this mission. I'm also largely inspired by Bogue's video of Roquea. I would like to send a submarine to the planet and actually dive to the bottom of the ocean. And I originally was planning on just having like a separate re-entry thing, like situation for the submarine, and then just have the submarine like separate from the spaceship and just dive into the atmosphere and then break off the heat shield and then just parachute to the surface and then have this guy dive separately from the plane. But then I had a thought of, well, why not I build a plane that can actually carry the submarine inside of a cargo bay, and then we'll land the plane on the surface of the water, and then we'll detach the submarine, and then we'll dive to the bottom of the ocean. And as for the mothership, it's got our crew habitation modules. So this is like it got a the command module, centrifuge, which extends like that, which is from the stock-like station parts expansion mod. And then this other habitation module. And these truss parts from near future construction. And the engine I'm using is and the radiators are from the Sterling Systems mod suite. And this one is a this engine actually uses fusion pellets as its fuel source, which is kind of like a condensed version of like liquid deuterium and liquid helium-3 fuel. But this engine is, like, I think among one of the most powerful and highest delta V engines that I have available to me. I don't know if you can see the delta V number, but it's like pretty crazy high. I think it's like over 1 million. So pretty sure where this is, we're once again packing way more delta V than we're actually going to need for this mission, but much better to have too much fuel than not enough fuel. And these radiators are from also from the Sterling Systems mod suite, and you can select like these different tiers of them, which can like each subsequent better one just can dissipate more heat, because this engine is like, I think makes like 100 megawatts of heat, so I've had to use a lot of radiators to help cool it down. And then just have some RCS, like these RCS blocks, I think, that are from Mark IV spaceplane expansion. And then I actually have these inline they have these things, which are actually kind of like probe cores, but they also have an they also have a reaction wheel in them, which I'm just using those as a reaction wheel. And then this piece is a procedural part structural element. And at the bottom, and these are the launch clamps from the Space Y mod. As for this plane, I'm once again using these engines. I think they're actually kind of become one of my new favorite jet engines, just because, I guess they're kind of overpowered, like, because they have a lot of, they have higher like vacuum specific impulse than like think any other of these like hybrid like jet engine type of engines. And because these use a lot of power, I am using one of these the OPT reactor cores to provide enough electricity to power them. And for the submarine, I've made it very similarly to how Bogue made theirs, and they just use these really small jet engines. Which I'll explain how that's going to work once we actually are landed. And the wings are the B9 procedural wings fork, which for me has basically replaced the stock, all the stock wing parts. Because it's like if I want to make, I can make any size wing I want. Like I can, like where we just by pressing J and then playing with this interface, I can pretty much make any shape or size wings that I want, which is just awesome. And no need to mess around with those with all those wing parts. It's really nice. And these air brakes are from the B9 Aerospace, which I'm only using those because they actually blend in with the color of the wings better, and they're actually kind of similar to these air brakes, but these kind of look those kind of stand out in comparison, and you can't really change the color of them. Oh, and I'm also doing another kind of interesting thing. So the OPT spaceplane mod actually has these configurable fuel tanks. Like you have all these different options for what you want to be in these tanks, and I actually there's an option for what's called intake atmosphere. And what that does is like when you're using jet engines that are intaking air, that tank basically acts as like a buffer for air, basically. So like if you're flying and you go too high in the atmosphere for your intakes to keep your engines happy, you actually instead of immediately cutting out, you'll still have at least a little bit of like a reserve amount of air left in this tank, which will get used up, which will temporarily provide more use of the air breathing mode until like you're at a higher point, like in the planet's atmosphere, where you can switch to your rocket mode and actually get the most out of it. Like so you don't have to use it lower down the atmosphere, where that's going to be less efficient. So that's it for the explaining about the spacecrafts, and I guess without further ado, let's launch. Oh, I had to restart this because I forgot that this engine also needs, apparently it needs liquid deuterium and liquid helium-3 in addition to fusion pellets to run. So I've had to add that tank in there, but hopefully now it should be able to take off. Okay, I forgot to... Apparently the jet engine's activated at the same time that engine, or those were released, so I'm gonna deactivate that really quick. Now we can take off. And apparently these are activated and I don't want them to be. And now we're leaving OVAC. And now we just need to plot our encounter with the wormhole. Okay, that's our intersect with the wormhole done. And here we go. Oh, I forgot to do a ship tour. This is that command module. This is the centrifuge. this is, and this is that that big crew module, or I guess habitation module. Well, going inside the centrifuge while it's spinning is kind of interesting. Whereas right now we're actually under artificial gravity, now that we're in the centrifuge. And I'm pretty sure all the 4 sections of the centrifuge are similar. So this one's a little bit different. I'll keep white. We'll keep going. Yeah, it can be a little... The climbing can be a little weird sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't always want to work. Oh, and this is same as the other one we were in. Come on. You know you want to climb that ladder. And this one's also a little different. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call that for the tour. And we're still flying away from the wormhole. And looks like we're already on escape trajectory out of Sarah, which was what we want anyway. Okay, we want to leave the Sunworks system and actually go to Roquea. And this burn is gonna get us out of Sunark, and also our periapse is almost down to Roquea's orbit around the black hole. Yeah, it's crazy. So far we barely used up our fuel, and it looks like the fuel stored in the engine's draining first, and then it's going to use the fuel that's in that tank. And now we're going to fall towards Cacablo. And let's get facing retrogrades to get ready for our circularization burn. Yeah, this is going to use a lot of fuel, but I have plenty. Thought I'd time warp to actually directly to the periapsis so I can finish off this burn. Okay, now it's time to actually get an encounter with Roquea. I wanna... I didn't get that quite as precise as I would like, so I'm gonna do another adjustment burn. Oh, and by the way, I'm toggling my main engine on and off between burns because a lot of the Stirling systems engines, in my experience, like if they're active but not in use, they will burn through the fuel that the reactor uses. Because it's like these engines, they're an engine and they're in a reactor for power in one. And like whenever the engine's not firing but the reactor's on, the reactor will eat up fuel. I've learned through experience, if I time warp while the engine's still active, it just eats up through the fuel, and then I'm wondering why I can't start up the main engine again. So it generally is kind of good practice if you're also using like any sort of reactors on your spacecraft to power them down in between, like when you're not doing any burns. in order to kind of conserve the reactor fuel. And that adjustment burn's gonna get me on an intersect with Roquea, but it's just a question of how much Delta V is gonna be needed to capture, like within the sphere of influence. And it looks like that's not going to be too bad. So, well, I would like to have the bit of a flatter trajectory. Maybe a bit more of on to like an equatorial orbit, like that. Okay, we'll go with that. And then do a quick save in case things should go wrong. I don't know if we'll be able to see the planet as we're approaching. Oh, there it is. There's Roquea. So I'm gonna try to point myself more outwards, which is hopefully going to allow us to burn further out, but not affect where our periapsis is going to be. And our escape is actually, time is going up, which is a good sign. But I wanna... Hey, can we stop doing that? Okay, I think we'll do... I think we'll just go burn out. And then hopefully that'll give us leeway. Oh wait, I want to go the other way. Like that. Okay, stop. Okay, I guess we'll hold that position. Okay, we want to stop lowering our periapsis. Well, I think it'd be best if we just wait till we're at periapsis, and then we'll finish this from there. Because we're almost there. It's... Hey, we are captured. Hey, for some reason the clouds on Roquea don't render unless you're really pretty low, which is kind of odd. Though then again, the volumetric clouds for the Cacalpo system are kind of incomplete. Like I think it's only a few of the planets actually have them, or have configs, I should say. Like Smet and Symmetra and Sedna don't have clouds, which kind of bums me out, and I have no idea if development's going to resume on that. Okay, now we are in a low orbit above Roquea. So disable my main engine. And I guess before we land, I guess we can get some screenshots. Or maybe get some potential candidates for screenshots. Yeah, I think now we can prepare for a landing. Oh, that's also a good shot. Oh, what? Okay, that's not good. Okay, what happened there is I throttled up these engines a little bit, and I mean just a little bit, like just barely, but that still was enough to destroy one of these radiator panels, so I guess I'm just gonna have to use RCS to push away. And I guess so. So just get away from our mothership, and then we'll think about where we want to land. I want to land in a spot where there are, I'm going to turn on the biome cheat. I want to land where these cracks are, or at least near to them. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. If we land short, we can always, like once we're in the atmosphere, we can always fly to where we need to go. Okay, so because the orbital speeds are pretty high here, our re-entry is really actually pretty spicy here. So what I'm gonna do, just gonna burn retrograde just to bleed off as much of our speed as we can. So as you can see, we're already heating up quite a lot. And we're barely even in the atmosphere. Oh, and I have to turn this on, or else we're gonna run out of power. Yeah, I don't know why we're not getting electricity, so I'm gonna turn that on for a bit. Oh yeah, look at that. I just turned off the engines and already getting pretty hot. Well, I guess doing a bunch of these maneuvers should help bleed off speed. Yeah, I think we're in the clear as far as re-entry heating. Yeah, I'm a little, I want to maybe go a little closer to the day side, so I think I'm just gonna fly a little bit. But I guess I'll turn that on just so I can keep an eye on my temperatures at all times. And I guess we just want to keep going until we see that we're in a crack biome. I'm probably going to time lapse through this. Okay, I found the spot where I want to land. There's a lot of clouds here. So I want to go, where I want to go is not here. Well, we've landed. And we got a quick save just in case the Kraken decides to play tricks on us. Hey, the surface of this planet is kind of a bit hostile because you have these big waves which are gonna make you constantly bob around like this. Like this is like what the inside view looks like.